Why? Why? You being a problem? You being a problem? Excuse you. Let's see what we get. Across there.
Okay, you can come look at when I made you. I actually don't want to do that. I'm done with the thing I made because I tore it up.
What?
Mommy, this cake and then you do another little plate with just one thing on it. And one thing on your plate. Okay. No, I only like using the lids mostly. Only if I get too many things I can't put it all.
Fine. Mr. Grumpy Boy. Mm.
I'm gonna do that with all of them.
What's up, girlie? Mm-hmm.
Do you want them?
It goes on your die.
Do you want to wear one though?
Nah, I'm thinking that would be quite the project.
Aren't those pretty?
Mm-hmm.
You just have to slide them on your foot. That's all I have to do with her.
Oh, I can't get my foot in there. My foot's too big. See? Ah! Okay.
Try to put your pinky toe in it.
Tell them I don't fit in there.
It doesn't. Let me try your pinky finger.
It's no better. Oh, yeah.
It almost fit.
Okay.
It almost did.
Iced coffee? Yeah, no, I just figured some coffee's not good.
You want some cheese? I made it out of Play-Doh.
So,
Do you want to eat it?
no. No, I don't want to eat it.
I know. Mama went, she didn't really eat it.
Okay. Would you quit?
Me?
Yes, you. No, little girl behind you. You don't help me move over here, buddy. Hello, people.
Okay.
What's up? Whoa, sparkly.
Yeah, so up.
Okay. She's up to 13 now?
Yeah, she put on at 12 and they pinched her toes.
Whoa, so she's going to be in the young lady shoes shortly, huh?
Yeah,
Because how big do they go before they change?
this is it.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Here's the last one on the rope. It's like, yes. noodles, but it had marshmallows. I'm always. Let's try it.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
You just Have a little more string out. Run a little more string out. Turn it a little higher and stay up.
Mm. Hello, Warren. Everybody's playing games with me here tonight. So I've just been having a field day going down the list here on them. Well, why don't you come on, Warren? So you've been fishing today, Warren? Okay. Hey, Warren, you control me anytime. I don't mind. But just remember, it's a two-way street, too. Remember the Twinkie truck? Mm. There you go, Warren. Basically, I blocked the others except for Lamb Chapo, which I know is Elvis. And he not only got blocked, but he got blacklisted, so he can't come back. Mm. Now, if they're just screwing with me, I just blocked him. Like I said, with Elvis, I blacklisted him, so he can't even come on side chat. Mm. Nah, just playing around, and hey, I don't care if anybody shows up here or not. Doesn't matter to me. It's not monetized or anything, so there's absolutely nothing in it for me. But I figured just give us something to do here for a while on a Saturday afternoon. A YouTube celebrity? My ass. He's a YouTube lowlife village idiot, I should say. He is definitely the bottom of YouTube. Emphasis on being a bottom. Now, one, you see, when Elvis posted that video out there, that one there, basically ranting on me, he's fair game now. I can pick him apart all I want. Now, whenever he finally removes that video, I'll quit picking on him. So, like I said, he's the one that put it out there. So we'll just keep ripping on him and stuff. And whenever he decides to finally man up to it, take it down, I'll quit messing with him. That's all. So as long as he's got it out there, he's fair game. He's such an idiot. Doesn't mean you're a celebrity, Warren. It means you're a fucking idiot. He just gets people riled up. The thing is, it's like, all right, so if his business model is to piss off your customers, I've never seen that work in the past. So I can't imagine it working now for him. Because is he even still uploading videos? Because I've got him blacklisted all the way around, so I have no clue. I pay no mind to that guy. Well, he doesn't even qualify as a guy. Sorry. He's more like an amoeba, you know. So no, he doesn't really qualify for a guy. Hey, Albert Einstein was crazy. How do you think he came up with all that stuff? So is Stephen Hawking and Newton and they thought Henry Ford was a whack job. So, you know. Of course, now Hillary Clinton is a whack job. She should get together with Elvis. They would make such a great couple. Well, wouldn't know on that one, Warren. I never cared to be famous in the first place. I've had my 15 minutes of fame a couple times, and, you know, it's like, it doesn't mean anything to me. But no, in the past, I've been on the cover of a couple of the rocketry magazines. Been on the cover of the Connect magazine, which is a Coca-Cola business magazine. And I've been on, the Clock Dial is the Coca-Cola magazine. The Connect magazine is Dr. Pepper's. But I've been on the cover of both of them. So. And like I say, now the one on the High Power Rocketry magazine, that got me national security at my front door. So, yeah, it's great to be famous, but hey, you know. Okay. Well, back in February when I talked to him, he was actually a nice person on the phone. He wasn't anything like his YouTube channel. Now, last month when I talked to him, he's become his YouTube channel. So, I don't know if he's just sold himself on the idea that he really is that great. And he is the king. I have never seen a king e-beg. I have never seen him with a 30-year-old vehicle. Never seen him having to get out and work on it. He's so full of shit, his eyes are brown. So, I don't know. Like I say, he can be whoever he wants on YouTube. When he did his rant video on me, that's where he brought me into the picture. So, you know, I'll slam on him and help him out all I can. You know, we got his one channel shut down, so he can't upload. And so, you know, we'll see. I'm wondering if I should go through and, you know, work on a few more of his videos, see if we can get him removed all the way. I'm thinking as soon as they turn him loose on it, then we all just jump on him and he's gone. No, you're right, Warren. You're right. He's just looking at views. He doesn't care if it's, you know, a good view or a bad view. Doesn't matter. And it's like the trolls jumping on here, giving me all these thumbs down. It's like it's not even hardly up yet, and I got thumbs down. So, no, to them, it's all a game. But actually, if you've got a mix of thumbs up and thumbs down, basically, you've got to have like a 50-50 mix, and that actually moves you up on the search engine. So if they want to keep you down on the search engine, just give you all thumbs up, and if there's no controversy there, then YouTube doesn't push you up. So the more the controversy, the more they'll move you up on the search engine. And I think that's part of what Elvis works with, because he gets all this negative feedback that actually helps him when people are looking at videos. You get more of them that show up in the list. Hello, Mr. Grinch. We're just hanging out, killing time at the moment. I tried running it off my laptop out in the yard and found I can't see the screen. It's too bright out there. And then being I just recently reloaded it last weekend, and then I upgraded the RAM on it. What was that, Thursday night? So it should be able to run it. But Windows Update is just, man, they are hammering me. I get more update install time than I did on the original operating system. So, and basically it's an old Aspire laptop that basically it's, oh gosh, I've had it for probably 10 years. So, because I got it in 2007, so I've had it for 9. And yeah, things have changed so much. How can you get on a Hangout on an iPhone? I don't have an iPhone. I couldn't tell you. I'm still the old-fashioned rotary dial cell phone. But there's a link if anybody's interested. Yeah, no, we're still the good old-fashioned apps. The good old-fashioned pain in the neck phone. One that screws up every time you turn around. One that crashes on a daily basis. You know how it is. I think I left my other phone in the bedroom. But this is the cheap stuff here tonight. This is Bargain Blend from Stag. And other than that, I've got about every third or fourth pipe. I'll throw some of that on there. That's a cherry tobacco. And that one really smells good. So it's kind of two different burns. This Bargain Blend burns a little bit hotter, a little bit smokier. So just doesn't stay lit very well. Now, has anybody heard from Blue Waffles there today on what went on with him and Juice? Because I know he was headed over and Juice was supposed to meet him. And Blue Waffles said he'd bet you $10,000 that he wouldn't meet him. He was right. Okay, so he did make it back though. Okay. Yeah, I don't see him over there on Sunny's right now. Of course, I didn't scroll up. Let me take a look. Uh, okay. All I see is looks like Blue Waffles posted a new video. I'll come back and look at it later here. Elvis Travels movie. Elvis Travels movie trailer. So we'll go look at it later. I am not sure who Blue Waffles is. I don't keep up with all the gossip on who's who. I know it's just like they say Low Country is Vlad. I don't know if it is or not. I do think Elvis needs to adopt the name Twinkle Toes, though. That would be the perfect name for him on here. Hey, thank you, Prepper. That's what it is for me, Mr. Grinch. It's something to just see what's going on out there. I never watch TV. And YouTube, there's so many good channels out here. And it's like one that I like to watch is Miranda Cruz. And I get up this morning and she posted a new video. So that made my day this morning. But no, I've got, oh gosh, I have no idea how many people I subscribe to. But most people, if you subscribe to me, I'm going to subscribe back just out of courtesy. And same thing if you're one of my subscribers, if I'm watching one of your videos, I'm going to give you a thumbs up. I'll leave you a nice comment, whether I like it or not. And I'll let the thing run clear through to give you the airtime. Even if I, just step off the window and go over to another window and mute you on it, but I'll let it run so at least it looks good on your numbers. Now, if it's an Elvis video, I spend as little time as possible. I don't subscribe to any of his. In fact, I've got them all blacklisted and blocked. I don't need that kind of crap. I like things that are positive. If you base your life on positive things, it makes life so much better. So that's why I don't watch much TV. It's all drama. Heck, if I want drama, I can find it right here on YouTube. Okay, Warren, so how do you go postal on a delete button and get somebody off of there? We haven't been able to do that with Elvis. So why can he throw you off and not me? Or not Elvis, I mean. No, you're saying New York van or North Carolina van man goes postal on you on the delete button. So how do you do that? I mean, basically all I know how to do is flag them. Other than that, send a letter to the YouTube legal department. Yep, I can see that, Mr. Grinch. I've been through a lot of RVs in my life. When I was 17 and a half, I bought an 18-foot travel trailer. It was an 18-foot Nomad. And backed it up to the front door of the house, told my mother I was moving out, and I loaded my bedroom into it, and away I went. And I spent 9 years in that little trailer. Now, it was a great way to live, because when you're at that age, what do you need? Basically, you need a place to sleep and a place to get a shower. And I was never home much at all other than to catch some sleep and take a shower and change clothes. So, no, it worked great for me because I was never hardly in there. Now, when I got a little older, where was I? Probably like 27 or something, when I met the woman that became my original wife, and we bought, it was a 38-foot, it was an old 1950 Roycraft, and basically it had been completely redone. The place was absolutely beautiful, and we bought it, and it was like 9 months later the thing burned down because the hot water heater was improperly grounded, made the pipes hot, and it started under the bathtub and came up the wall, and when it blew the windows out, the neighbors called the fire department, and we lived right across the street from the fire department. They had a 2-minute response time, and the whole place was gone. But then I've had, we had a 22-foot, I don't even remember the name of that one, but man, we dragged that one so far that we had to replace the tires on it. First time I'd ever worn the tires off of a travel trailer. And then we had a 32-foot Terry Super Slide. And then when I went through my divorce, I wound up with a 10.5-foot slide-in camper, because with that, I didn't have to pay for license fees or tags, and didn't have to have extra insurance, so it was a cheap way to go. And we ran that thing up and down the mountain for quite a few years. And then we bought this 34-foot fifth wheel now. So I pretty much always had something. And prior to us getting the 22-footer, we were camping in the back of the pickup. I had it all set up where I built cabinets in on the sides and put some ribs on the side where I could have these boards that laid in there. And we had a mattress on it, so we had a raised bed, and it was at such a height that these 5-gallon bag-in-the-boxes you use on the soda fountain, I'd collected a stack of those from work, and if you cut the little valve out of them, you can flush them out and fill them with water. And so we carried 40 gallons of water under the bed and everything else we needed. And then it had a big heavy board at the back that flipped up and down that pinned into place. So if I needed to haul 55-gallon drums or something like that, I could slide them in the back and they were completely secure. But we had so much storage in that truck that we would we'd load up, and we had everything we needed to survive for 2 weeks on board. And we'd come out west here for 3.5 weeks at a shot, living in the back of the truck. And I had 2 little kids at the time. And my daughter would sleep in the front seat of the truck. It's just a standard F-150 pickup. And she'd sleep in the front seat. And then we had a board that went across between the seat and the dashboard on the passenger side that was my son's bed. And so he had his bunk. And during the day, we'd store that bunk behind the seat when we were rolling. And the kids in back, they were on the bed. They had a TV with a VCR. They had music. They had lighting. They had fans. They had a cabinet that was just for their toys. They could bring anything they wanted. And yeah, the whole time we were rolling, they were occupied and having fun. So, and usually on the long hauls, I'd pull a day, a night, and a day before we break. And that's how we get from Naples, Florida out here to Denver in 39 hours and 20 minutes. So that was with 55-mile-an-hour speed limits too. So, you know, we'd roll like right at 60. We'd take a 15-minute break every 12 hours to fuel up and go potty. But other than that, when we were rolling like that, we kept a cooler full of ham salad, tuna salad, chicken salad. Basically, hand the container up and slap a scoop on a slice of bread, fold it in half, and chow down. But now we were camping because I had a little, it was just a 200-watt power inverter in there. Now, I need to do a video under the hood of the truck here at some time because I've got the same thing on this truck I had on the old truck with the dual alternators, 2 alternators, 2 batteries, 2 complete systems. And that way you've always got the extra one to work with. And so we'd run the power inverter off the auxiliary side. And basically at night we could use the electric blanket, run all night. During the day when we were driving, I'd have a crock pot sitting back at the tailgate with something good cooking. And a lot of these times we were out in the middle of a buffalo field or a milo field launching rockets. And I'd have the crock pot sitting on the hood of the truck. So everybody knew me for my crock pot. But that way the kids, anytime they got hungry, they had something good cooking. All they had to do was go get them a scoop and they were set. So yeah. And then we had the radios there that we'd set one in there between the cab and the bed there on the boot. If one of the kids were sleeping or something and we wanted to go into someplace, we'd let them sleep. And that way whenever they got up, they'd know to just grab the radio there and push the button on it, and we'd be right back there to them. So when we were on vacation, we were all on vacation. They could set their hours if they wanted. If they wanted to sit up all night with me when I was driving, fine. You know, I didn't make any demands on them. It was purely, let's go have fun. But I got to tell you, my son, he was, what was he? Probably 4 years old, probably 4 or 5, when we were up in Glacier. We hiked 16 miles one day back in to see all these beautiful waterfalls and back out and all. And when we got to the campsite, it was so funny because the kids were so mild and so calm and so pleasant to be around. There was nothing hyper there. And so, you know, we ate dinner and all. And when we laid them down to go to bed, it was like the dolly that when you lay it down, the eyes close. It was so funny because I just put him to bed up in the front of the truck. And it wasn't even 30 seconds later that it's like, oh, yeah, I needed, you know, something out of the front. I don't remember what it was. And I opened the door, and they were both passed out cold and snoring already. It's like, goodness. But no, so you can't tell me a little kid can't cover the ground because he can do it. But no, we had a lot of fun with that. You know, my money was tight, and basically we'd come out of Florida with $2,200 and paid cash for everything. Our biggest expense was gas. And usually by the time we'd get home after 3.5 weeks of having a ball and doing everything we wanted to do, we'd still go home with like $50. So, you know, it was a great way to go. All right, Grinch, I'll be here for a little while. You know, we spent a lot of time outdoors, and if you're ever up in Glacier, that's a lot of fun because they always do all these little information class things in the evening where you can go and sit down and learn about the bears and the lizards and the, you name it, whatever the wildlife is there. And that was a lot of fun. We were up in Waterton on the Canadian side of Glacier, and they had one there on the bears and all, and they talked about why on the side of the road they had all these little ramps going up in the rain gutter. And that was because when they redid the road and they put the curb in, these little lizards run across the road and they get stuck in the gutter and die. And so they put these little ramps here that, you know, when they hit the gutter, they'll run along the gutter and then up the ramp and back up the other side. And that solved the problem with the little lizards dying. But they teach you all about safety and how to handle yourself outdoors, you know. So they got quite the education. And it was real fun because they always do it in a setting, you know, with a campfire and the whole bit. It's done by the Park Service. Oh, there we go. Oh, goodness. So North Carolina van man's going to tell me the truth about you, Warren. Whoa, I'm excited now. Yes, yes, it would. Yes, it would. Make it real easy to move it all around and everything else. And once you squeegee it out and let it dry, it's not going anywhere. And it's clear. So, yeah, it probably would work good for window tint. All right, Warren. So what's the truth North Carolina van man wants to tell me about you? Oh, there we go. Just don't get yourself in a spot that it's illegal. As long as it's not the driver's window or the passenger window or the front windshield, you can go as dark as you want. I know when I had the limo, the windows in back were really, really dark, which was great because you could stop at a public parking lot if you wanted to make out back there and nobody could see in. So that's what I thought, Warren. Uh-oh. Now, so many people take YouTube so seriously, and it's not something to take serious. You know, we're here for entertainment.
Okay. The flowers are because Lori's dad died yesterday.
Okay, did you take them to him?
Yes. I just took
Oh,
him
they're
out
home?
for it. And she asked how she's doing now. Her dad died in hospice yesterday.
Aw.
He's been there about 2 weeks.
Oh.
He's just going downhill. And
How's she taking?
graduations.
So graduation and a death all at once.
Yeah, so the viewing and the funeral is Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Well, it's one of those things where they all knew it was coming. You know, because his esophageal tumor wasn't getting bigger, but the fluid around his lungs was getting worse, and then the swollen lymph nodes, because of the tumor, were getting bigger. And he couldn't eat, and he couldn't breathe. And it was kind of one of those things where, you know, she's like, Dad, we got it. You know, if you're not comfortable, he was afraid to die. He thought he was going to go for sure to flames and pitchforks.
Oh.
So, you know, that was the other part of it.
Okay. Because, yeah, that was such a beautiful bouquet of flowers. And when the guy come knocking at the door.
One of Tyler's friends, Scott's.
Wow. Okay. I know, Warren, seems our neighbor's dad passed away. So I wound up with this huge bouquet of flowers here because when they went to deliver it, nobody was home next door. And so I accepted it, and the wife just took it over to them. So they knew it was coming, though, for probably the last year. They just didn't know when. Goodness. Now, when my mom passed away, put it this way, we went to Castle Rock. My sister was in Denver for a conference. She lives in Fort Lauderdale, but she was in Denver for a conference. And so we met in Castle Rock. I picked Mom up because she was living out here in Colorado Springs in the old folks' home. And I picked her up, and we went to Castle Rock, and we had a nice dinner. And it was the first time in her life that she basically buried the hatchet with both me and my sister, because she always basically played one or the other of us. One of us was always on the good list, and one was on the shit list. And it was always that way, you know, it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that was the one night that she buried the hatchet with both of us, and we were both on the good list. And that was like a Thursday night. And, you know, I took her home, dropped her off at her apartment, and then I get a call on Monday that she passed away. Now, the thing is, she passed away on Saturday. They didn't find her until Monday when the neighbors were complaining about the smell. So she was a very private person. She didn't believe in this, you know, checking in to let them know she's all right and stuff like that. Now, what happened was she went down for lunch, and she had her little riding cart. And her thing was, if she took more insulin, she could eat sweets. And she forgot her insulin that morning. And she went down, she had lunch, she had a piece of chocolate cake with it, and then she went back to the room. Well, apparently when she got back to the room, she wasn't feeling good. She pulled the cart in and right up alongside the counter where she always parked it. Now, she was a real stickler about shutting the thing off all the time. Well, when they found her, the cart was on, her arm was on the counter with her head resting on it. Now, there was a phone 3 feet ahead of her. There was a pull cord 2 feet behind her. All she had to do was hit the button with a finger, and she could have been to either one if she realized there was a problem. But she just, you know, when the sugar spiked, she didn't feel good. She laid her head down, and that was it. She was gone. And I'm just thankful that, you know, she went in such a humane way, because she had no clue. Because my fear was she'd die in a car accident, because she was on morphine and everything else, and she'd scare the crap out of me with her driving. And, you know, I wound up with her car in the end, and man, it had more dings and dents everywhere, because she couldn't even pull into a parking spot without clipping a light pole or smacking a fire hydrant or something. But yeah. But no, so yeah, it was kind of a shock when she went. But the good point is, with me and my sister, because she came out to, you know, help us clean out the apartment and stuff. And with Mom's stuff, either it fit my sister's taste or it fit mine. There was no argument over anything. It was a case of, all right, if you want that, take it. You know, can I have these things here? And it was very simple to just go through it, divide it all up, because there wasn't anything in between that would be, you know, oh my God, I want that. No, I want it. No, we were very civilized on it. And so, yeah. It's like she had a great big screen TV, one of those old-fashioned rear projection things. And my sister's husband wanted it. Well, at the time, the place I was living in, I wouldn't have had any place to put it anyhow. I don't watch TV to begin with, so it didn't mean anything to me. Sure, take it. You know? So, and it was like with, you know, Mom's firearms. Okay, I got the 410. She got the 38. That works. You know, I got handguns. I didn't need another handgun. So. sorry to hear about that, Warren. See, with me, I'm on bonus overtime. I was supposed to have been dead New Year's Eve of 2013. So I had a 98% blockage in the Widowmaker and scared the crap out of everybody at the hospital. Drove myself in, walked into the emergency room, and they left me sitting there about 15 minutes, took me back, ran an EKG on me, sent me back out, and a couple minutes later, they come out of the back room with a gurney and 5 people, and all hell broke loose. So, yeah, no, it's hard, Warren. My mother went, it would have been, I think, 2001. So, which, yeah, it was hard, but I've always been an independent person. Same with my sister. So, yeah. Okay, I can see that, Warren. So you were really, really attached, which that's good. That's good. I mean, me and my sister were always real independent people, and we had our own lives and the whole bit. You know, I've never been one to ask anybody for help. You know, hey, I'll figure out how to make it on my own. When I went out the door at 17 and a half, I was damn determined I was going to make it on my own. So, yeah, you know, a young kid with, you know, that, man, I'm bulletproof. You know, I wasn't going to fail. I was not going to let that happen. I didn't care if I had to wash frickin' dishes in a Chinese restaurant. I was going to make it somehow. And so, you know, that's... Okay, I started my first job when I was 16. Basically, I got my first car. I'd collected soda bottles and push lawnmowers all over neighborhoods and stuff to earn the money to buy my first car. Because my mother's thing was, we need to buy our first car, and if we can prove to her we can take care of it, she'll help us get into something else. And I bought a 1970 Austin America. Basically, I had $650 saved up, and the car cost me $600, and then the insurance on it was like $32, and I had gas money. Now, I bought it on a Friday, started my first job on a Monday. I was an electrician's helper. And from there, a year later, I bought my first pickup truck. You know, when I was 17 and a half, I bought my travel trailer. Yeah, I was making money. And then I wound up, went to Naples and went to work for Shop and Go, which became Circle K. And wound up going through a double hernia operation and all. But I was going to school down there, going to automotive. Now, then I went up here, I went up in Fort Myers to diesel mechanics. I started out as heavy equipment repair, and then I went for over-the-road truck repair, and then I went for all this automotive repair and specialized in everything. I got to go to a bunch of the factory schools and all the different clinics and everything. And man, I got it all. So yeah. Well, Krista, my dad died when, well, we usually tell people when I was 2, but it was when I was 9 is when he died. My mother divorced him when I was 2. Now, he started drinking. He'd come home and get violent, and she wasn't going to have him hurting her kids, and so she divorced him. Now, a few months before he died, he moved from up north in Indiana there. He moved down to Chokolaski in the Everglades in Florida. And I got to go spend the last couple months of his life with him. And when he died, they put me on an airplane and flew me back up north. But that was right before we moved to Florida there. And when we moved to Florida, we moved into Cape Coral to begin with, and then shortly after we moved to Corkscrew Swamp. So I did most of my growing up in the swamp. That is so sad, Warren. Yeah, because with me, you know, with him going out the door when I was 2, you know, I was the man of the house from the time I was 2. And so, you know, it was my responsibility to fix things, to keep things going, to, you know, 6 years old, I'm out there mowing the lawn and stuff. Ma would give me a dime, and I'd take the gas can, and I'd walk 5 houses down the street to the Martin station, get my 10 cents worth of gas, and it was like all I could carry home, and it would mow the lawn. So, I'm sorry, Warren. Yeah, that alcoholic bit, you know, I like my drinks on Friday and Saturday night, but during the week I don't drink. Okay, I've been through Port St. Lucie. We used to go through the locks there at Port St. Lucie. When you cut across the river from Fort Myers there, the Caloosahatchee. No, one of the things we got to do when we were living down there in Florida was in '73, my mother bought it was a 28-foot flybridge yacht. It was a winner. And we went to the Bahamas on it. We spent 30 days living on the boat, cruising all the islands in the Bahamas. And we went with a program Go Boating Magazine did, where we went with 54 other boats. And it was a lot of fun getting to go and see all these islands and all these places and stuff. Now, I would have been, well, at the time I would have been 12, because it would have been before my birthday. And we pulled into, what was it? one of the islands out there. And all they had was 220 plug-ins on the dock. And very hot, very muggy, loaded with mosquitoes at this port. And, you know, we've got one of these plugs that plug into the 110. You know, you plug it in, you turn it. And so, all right, everybody's out there taking apart the lighting on the dock and everything, trying to figure out how to get power off of these things for the night. And there was more fireworks and more breakers blowing. It was hilarious. But we went to dinner, and I'm sitting there thinking about it. It's like, all right, difference between 220 and 110 is you got 2 hots and a neutral versus a hot, a neutral, and a ground. And so when we got done with dinner, it's like I had an idea. So we get back to the boat, and I get my little test meter out, and I'm checking the plug, and it's like, all right, this one's hot, that one's neutral. And so we got this little bitty hand drill thing, you know, where you hold it, you spin the crank on it. And I took the plug, drilled the rivets out of it. In the meantime, I've got my mother and my sister stripping twist ties. And so they're busy stripping twist ties. And what I did was basically I pulled out the ground plug. And that gave us the hot and the neutral. And then we took the twist ties and connected it to the ground and pigtailed it out so we could put it under the screw on the panel. And when we plugged it in, we had power. So we could run the air conditioner and sleep well. And everybody in the harbor was just like in awe of us on how did this little guy figure this out? You know, it was my job to keep everything running. And I had several times that I'm down in there with the engines while we're screaming along at 20 knots. And I'm down there working on the engine because there's a problem with algae in the fuel filters, or we had one where we cracked the distributor cap, and we were like 70 miles from the nearest shore. And so I'm out down there with leather boot laces, you know, get them nice and wet so they stretch. And I'm taking these 3 pieces of the cap and I'm putting them together, and I'm lashing these leather boot laces around it and tying it off. And then when the thing dries, the leather shrinks. And so, you know, I get the thing together and I take it and I put it on, and then just the heat of the engine room dried them out, shrunk it tight. And we ran all the way into Nassau with that distributor cap held together with leather bootlaces. But yeah, I was a little guy, but I was creative. Now, she had one night in one of the ports, she was up in the clubhouse, and one of the guys come up, and he's like, your son is messing with the engines on the boat. She's like, no, he's taking care of the engines on the boat. He knows what he's doing. And it was so funny, because he was so riled up over me, this little itty-bitty guy, down there, and you know, I'm draining fuel filters and draining fuel bowls, because the fuel out there, you got so much water in it, it was ridiculous. And you know, I'm going through and checking everything, tightening the fan belts and the whole bit, making sure that we are ready to run for in the morning. But no, being such a little guy, but no, I knew what I was doing. But no, when I was like 10 years old, we had our Uncle Bob came down to see us. And he sat down with me at the table out on the porch. And he was trying to explain to me how electricity works. And it was so funny because it's like, okay, you know. Then he went to my mother and he's like, I don't get it. He understands. He understands it. I don't understand how he understands it at that age. But no, to me it was like, yeah, sure. You know, I understand electron flow and the whole bit. You know. And it was after that they got me into electronics, and they buy me these electronic kits. You know, I got into building all kinds of wild and crazy stuff. And I've still got a whole bunch of old electronics laying around. I've got one I want to pull out one day for my daughter. It's a whistle switch I built. And what it picks up is a 30,000 hertz frequency, which is a high-pitched whistle. Now, I used to have my stereo and all plugged in on it. And so that way, you know, when I was ready to go, I just whistle and shut it down. And what was so funny was Olivia Newton-John, when she sang Physical, when she would holler Physical, that was the tone. It would shut her right off. So long as they didn't play Olivia Newton-John, it worked great. Yeah, I know, Warren, with all my mechanical bit to begin with, and then, like I said, I got 6 years of education behind me on the repairs between heavy equipment, trucks, automotive, and all, to where, you know, at least I learned all the theory behind it, to where I've got the knowledge, where I've got no problem rebuilding engines, rebuilding transmissions, whatever I need. So you were riding a tricycle through the packing house. That was probably fun, though. I was the guy there with a wagon tied to the back of my 10-speed, running all over the neighborhood, picking up soda bottles, picking up scrap wood. So, man, I could build something out of that. I built more boats and stuff. Sit there with a hammer and a chisel and chisel out a 2x4 to make a boat out of it. Take a milk carton and cut the side out of it, and, you know, shave a block down to the size I needed. Then I'd be sitting there with the milk carton over this block, over a burner, trying to shape it to it so it'd fit on the boat right. But yeah. Hey, that sounds pretty cool, Warren. Now my daughter's got this thing in the backyard that we're getting ready to box up and send on to the next child in line in the family. But it's like a pickup truck type pedal thing that was built back in the 20s. It's all metal, and Dad completely rebuilt it for Morgan. And Morgan played with it just a little bit, but she had problems trying to get the pedal action down. And by the time she got the pedal action down, she was too big for it. So now we're just not sure what we're going to wind up doing with little Morgan. She went through all this testing at school. She is so over the top on it that they're looking at, you know, we may wind up having to send her to a different school to get her the right kind of education that fits her. So we don't know. But she scored in math, she was like 98% over the national average, where the school is just below the national average even. So when you look at the papers on everything, the reading, the writing, the spelling, she is so far above everybody in that school and above the national average even. So she's a little genius. It's going to be interesting. So what part of Florida were you in, Warren? Ah. Okay, so you were in a Mickey Mouse town. I got it. No. So Warren, if you grew up in Orlando, you familiar with Cypress Cove? It's a nudist resort there in Orlando. Okay. Now the reason I ask is that's where I spent my honeymoon with my first wife. We went out and we spent like 4 or 5 days there. Nice place. You catch quite the tan there. So you only made it one summer there though, huh? Well, the one thing I don't miss about Florida is the hurricanes. I have been through so many of them. And out here, all we got to worry about is the blizzard. So, well, and of course, they tell you we're not in an earthquake area, but this mountain range right behind us here, this is the 3rd time it's been pushed up, so you can't tell me we don't have earthquakes here. You know, it may not be active at the moment, but it damn sure was active at some point. Oh, gee, Warren, that's no fun. No, heck, when I turned 18, I joined the Sanibel Naturists. So I get to go hang out with all the naked people on the beach. Well, they had a good cause. It was all about, you know, cleaning up and taking care of the community and stuff like that. Hey, I'm all for it. But the one thing I learned with it all, when you're at a naturist resort, everybody's naked. Everybody's on the same level. And you will meet doctors, attorneys, clear on down to, you know, blue-collar workers, everybody else there. And it's really great confidence building, because then, you know, it's like when you're dealing with these people, you know what? They put their clothes on the same way I do every day. You know, they're no different. You know, when, like I say, take them out of the clothes and they're just an ordinary person. So for me, there's no intimidation factor in how well you're dressed or how powerful a position you're in or what. Doesn't matter. You know, that's the path you chose. It's the path I chose. You know, I don't care if you're president, if you're congressman, if you're CEO or what. You're still a person. You know, that's the role you play in business. It's like with me, you know, on the job, I'm the professional business person. Off the job, I'm the silly cross-dresser. Just have fun with life. You know. Of course, now I got a question. How do you cross-dress at a nudist resort? So you had a tornado in Jensen Beach? I've been lucky. I've never actually been in a tornado. I know we were off the Florida Keys at one point with the boat, and there were 5 water spouts all around us. And so we just, where we? There we go. To where we wound up basically just changed our course to run around between all these these water spouts. But it was down there off of Duck Key, and we've been out fishing. And it was basically, the storm was really weird because you had all these water spouts and all these areas of the really black and ugly sky with them. Then you had the blue sky with the sun shining. So most of the time, we were in the sunshine, but yet, you know, we're looking at all of these, you know, tornadoes just a few miles away, a couple miles away. And so, you know, we were just kind of doing this number there, going around between them, coming back into port. You know, it's like, they're okay as long as you're over there. I'm debating if I need to get off of here and go get something cooking for dinner. Yeah, down there in Florida, water spouts are just, it's an afternoon thunderstorm thing. You know, they're always out there. And down in the Keys especially, for some reason, those storms, when they build up down there, well, of course, if you look at the water, that Florida Bay, you could just about walk across Florida Bay. I mean, most of that water is like less than 10 feet deep. Then it goes all the way from the southern tip of Florida clear out to the Keys. Very beautiful, very clear water, very shallow. That was always the joke, boating on the Caloosahatchee. At least if you broke down, you could get out and walk home, because most of the river was like 3 foot deep if you were out of the channel. And I don't miss all the storms and all down there. You've never walked on a beach. Goodness. I used to spend a lot of time at the beach. I'm the guy, when I moved to Naples, I bought me a little 11-foot sailboat, little sunflower thing, which basically the hull is like styrofoam covered with a real hard vinyl. And so anytime the breeze was blowing, I was at the beach sailing. And when we get the heavy winds, the gales, when these storms were coming, I was at the beach with the sailboat. Even if you had to hold the bow over your head while you got it out in the water to begin with, then I'd jump in and grab the sheet and away we'd go. And man, I had one day out there that we probably had 6 or 8 foot seas rolling. And the wave would literally crash clear over the boat and try to wash me clear out of it. And then the next wave would pitch me clear up in the air. to where, you know, I'm clear over the side with a foot on the dagger board underneath trying to push it down. And then coming up off the wave there, you know, throw you in the air, and then you're diving back into the boat to try to keep it balanced until you got the dagger board back in the water again. And man, I had a ball with that. I was out there for about 45 minutes, and on one of those times when it threw me up in the air, I pulled the rudder over coming down, and the rudder slapped broadside on the water, and it busted the rudder off. And so at that point, it was a case of just let the sheet out and let the wind blow you up on the beach. And yeah, but in the meantime, with all of this fun, I did warp the mast, and I warped the poles on the sail there, so the whole thing got a curve to it after that. But it was so much fun. Yeah, Krista, have you ever been over to the Naples side? Because Naples has got such beautiful beaches. God, I love the Naples area. And they were such nice people at that time, which, as I understand now, they've got more of the yuppie crowd, which they're actually trying to put a stop to the swamp buggy races there in Naples. You know, because it's all about the rednecks and the rebel flag, and you know, you take the swamp buggy queen and throw her in the Mississippi hole there, which is the mud hole and stuff, and they're thinking it's sexist and all of that. They're trying to put a stop to it. But that's part of what Naples was all about, was the swamp buggy races. And then La Belle was always about the Swamp Cabbage Festival. Okay, I've never actually been to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. So if you're in Port St. Lucie, my sister's over there in Fort Lauderdale. She's got a penthouse suite right on the Atlantic Ocean, right there off A1A. Yeah, and then Naples it's a real quaint little town. I loved it. That's why when I moved out, I went to Naples, just because I thought it was so beautiful. It's such a pretty little quaint town at the time. So, okay, my sister lived in Coral Springs for a while. Yuppieville, yeah. Okay, yeah, I've heard of Ocracoke Island, and I'm familiar with where Cape Hatteras is. So, okay, wait a minute now. If it's off Cape Hatteras, I have been to Cape Hatteras once. So, and that would have been, what was that? I think it was like 79. Because what happened after, you know, me and my sister and all moved out and everything, then we all got together at one point, and we rented a 28-foot motorhome, a Tioga, down there in Fort Myers. It had 5,000 original miles on it. And we went to Nova Scotia, did the North Shore. And basically, it was like 10 days to do it in. And when you push a motorhome that hard, everything falls apart. That I-95 all the way up the East Coast, clickety-clack, bang, bang, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. It shook all the freaking bolts out of everything. And then up in Nova Scotia, the roads aren't that great either. But we even did Prince Edward Island and all before we came home. No, we finally got back to Fort Myers. Man, did they have their work cut out for them putting that motorhome back together. We had all kinds of things falling off. Okay. Now, the only ferry that, well, the only ferry up the East Coast I was ever on was the one to Prince Edward Island, but never been one off the coast. Yeah, putting a motorhome on a ferry to cross the bay. You gotta question it when you're pulling it on there. It's like, okay. All right. You know, there's several islands off the East Coast that you can do the ferry thing to. Yeah, I can understand you freaking out with an 18-wheeler on there. You're looking at that and thinking, you're going to float that across there? But, you know, it's purely a displacement thing. Now, here's a good one for you, Warren. Give you an idea. Okay, what puts more pounds per square inch pressure on the pavement? An 18-wheeler loaded to 80,000 pounds or a 120-pound blonde in high heels? I'll let you think about that for a minute. Wow. Okay, the answer on that, Warren? No. Nope, they're about the same, provided the total heel area is about 1 square inch. Because basically, a tractor trailer at 80,000 pounds exerts about 120 pounds per square inch on the pavement. So if the total heel area that she's standing on there is about 1 square inch, they're about the same. So it's not the trucks that tear up the road. It's the plus size girls in spike heels. They're the ones that tear it up. No, I know I'm going to catch crap for that one, but that's just, you know, it puts it into perspective. And basically, a cubic foot of cubic foot displaces 64 pounds because water's about 8 pounds a gallon, and basically you get 8 gallons in a cubic foot. And so, you know, it doesn't take too much to displace it. You know, it's like a 55-gallon barrel will displace 400 and some pounds. So, the pressure in me, okay. Yeah, no, that kind of puts it into perspective. And it's kind of like if you're trying to calculate, you know, how much pressure on the side of the house with a hurricane coming. Don't quote me on this, but if I remember right, it's like 1.2 pounds per PSI. So, or per mile an hour, I mean. So, yeah, you get per cubic foot, it's like 1.2 pounds of pressure per mile an hour of wind. So if you figure out how many cubic feet that wall is, times the 1.2, and that'll tell you per mile an hour how much pressure's on it. And that way when you sit down and you do the math and you realize how obscene the pressure is with a hurricane, it's like, yeah, what can I stay here? Oh, but you know, Warren, they never go after pipe smokers on it, because with the pipe, it's a natural tobacco, and you don't actually inhale it into the lungs. But yet, you kind of get the same response out of it you would out of a cigarette, but it's not as addicting as a cigarette. And I like math. My buddy Mike was over the road there. He'd call me up. It's like, hey, I'm up here in Wyoming. We've got 73-mile-an-hour winds broadside me here, and I'm only at 26,000 pounds. Is it going to blow me over? Now, when I do the math on that, I figure the whole mass, 65 feet long by 13.6 high. I don't allow for the gaps under the trailer between the cab or the slope of the hood. That's my cushion. When I did the math, it's like, okay, you're good to 91, so don't worry about it. And yeah, he was fine. Trailer was over in the other lane, but it wasn't rolling over on him. Okay. Yeah, you gotta watch it here in Colorado when they roll the road. Yeah. What's up, girlie? What's up? Oh, you're gonna come see me? Okay. Uh-oh. Attack of the doggies. Got another one that found me. Can I have that, Chewy? Can I have that, Chewy? Can I have it? Can I have it? Can I have it? Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. What's up, baby? What's up? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Really? Really? Okay. So there's something in the yard? You want to go see what's in the yard? Okay. Okay. We'll go let you out so you can go see what's in the yard. All right. I'm back. I'm in Colorado Springs. So I'm just east of downtown. I know a lot of people from down there in Fountain. Got a lot of people at work that live down there. Which that's just, oh, I don't know. It's probably like 5 or 8 miles down the road. You know, don't quote me exactly on it, but it's about a 10 or 15 minute drive. Yeah, no, I was trying to see if I could get the hangout going out in the backyard here, but with the laptop, which I need to run out and get it off the back porch. But yeah, I loaded the operating system last weekend. Had to reload it. And so, all right, it's a clean load. And then trying to run a hangout with it. By the time I bring SideChat up, it didn't really have the horsepower. So I upgraded the RAM on it because it'll handle 2 2 gigs of RAM, and what it had was 1 gig. And so that's what I could upgrade. And so I was trying it out there. But Windows Update is just hammering me. And with all the updates, it's bogging it down to where it doesn't have it. So I think once it gets all the Windows updates done, at that point, you know, it may be minimally useful for doing live Hangout. I can't afford to buy a new one right now because we got to pay IRS a buttload of money. So as soon as we get them paid off, then I can look at a laptop. All right. Yeah, no, the wife says we got burger thawed out there in the fridge, so I may go throw some burgers on the grill here. Well, there we go. Burgers on the grill. Video opportunity. I'm thinking that'd be interesting. Oh, goodness. Well, no, with that laptop, it was on Vista. And I don't know what the deal is, but the original, because you know, when you first get it, you always do the full backup, so you've got it, and it puts it on the other side of the partition. So if it ever crashes, you're supposed to be able to restore it to factory. Well, I've never restored it over all these years. And when I went to try to restore it, it couldn't find it. And when I'd look on the drive, it's like it's on there. And when I try to manually go that way, it'd tell me I'm not authorized. So it's like, okay. So I went through and I was deleting a whole bunch of stuff out of there, uninstalling. And I figured, okay, let me uninstall a whole bunch of these games that it came with. And when I uninstalled a bunch of games and went to do a restart, it wouldn't come up. It was missing part of the operating system. So I don't know what they had. Somehow they had it all wrapped together where you couldn't remove the games from the original system without causing a problem. And so at that point, it's like, well, now's my chance to try the Windows 7. And so I deleted the partition out of it and loaded 7 on it. And it came right up. It runs on it after checking. Because when you went to Acer and looked, you know, it gave you nothing beyond XP. But looking at YouTube, it's like, all right, they say you can go to 7. There's no problems. And I went and looked at some of the different forums, and they're like, yeah, there shouldn't be any issues. All the drivers should be there. So I went to 7, and yeah, it works again. Zips right along, but I'm amazed at how much it takes to run a Hangout. Because when you're dealing with minimum specs, by the time, it's one thing to do the Hangout, it's another thing to have the side chat with it. And it'll do the Hangout just fine, but by the time you pull the side chat up, that's where the issue is. And it was doing okay the other day. And now when it's doing all these updates, it just kills it. So once I get done with the updates, maybe I'll be all right. Hey, it's at least worth playing with. It doesn't cost me anything. And to upgrade the RAM, it cost me $10 and free shipping to get 2 gigs of RAM. Probably because nobody's even running it anymore, so they're just happy to get rid of it. Yeah, I think Francis and Blinky and all of those, My gosh, they have been up on chats all night long. I was shocked. I get up this morning and Jeff is still on. It's like, what? These people don't sleep. I don't know how they can do it. Yeah, so 7 is acceptable. I liked Windows 2000, and I finally went to XP, probably about 5 years ago, I guess, only because nothing was supporting 2000 anymore. And, you know, XP I liked. XP was nice. But I've got so much software and everything that will only run up through 2000. It won't run on XP or 7. And I'm one of those that, you know, I hate to do away with it. But I still have, I think all 3 of these back here on the towers are Windows 2000 still. Because I've got all kinds of stuff there. One is basically all based around music compression, and one is everything to do with the Freightliner out there, all the manuals, anything you could want to know how to fix on there, I've got it on there. And so that's why I'm sitting on them. Now the one there, it's an old, what is it, Socket 423 motherboard that it's got a 1.8 gig processor in it that is overclocked where it's running 2.3. And it runs really well. It's really stable at 2.3. It's an Asus motherboard. And so, yeah, for an old computer, I got a lot of time out of it because you could just keep overclocking it and make it work. Now, something I always do with my hard drives, whenever I pull one out of a computer, you know, for some reason I'm going to install on a new drive, I always take it, throw it in one of these cases back here, to where then I can plug it in on the USB, and I can still have access to everything. And I've actually got, oh, where is it up here? I don't see it right off. But I've got the whole setup there that you can just plug your drive in to it and then just plug it into a port and pull it from it. So, but on these little drives here, what's cool. What's cool on these things is you can just unplug the bottom off of it and plug it straight into your hard drive. And that plugs in on your USB port. So if you need to pull data off, that's a great way to go. Because basically all it is there is just a case with a hard drive in it. And so you can just unplug it off of there, plug it into the hard drive, and you can pull anything off of there you need. Now, if it's a drive that's corrupt or crashes, I've got a copy of Knoppix up here that if you bring the computer up on it, it's a Linux-based system. And even if Windows can't see it, and you know you can't do anything with Windows, you can pull it up on Linux and you can get your files. So long as the drive spins, you can pull your data from it. Yeah. You see, now if you go with Linux, like I say, Knoppix, it runs in RAM. So you don't even need a hard drive in the computer. You throw it in the tray and let it run, and at that point, you know, you can pull your data off of it, save it off onto a USB drive. So when I have something that completely crashes that I've got no access to, that's how I pull my files. Oh, I've got a lot of computers like that, Warren. I've got one right here at my foot that it's a clean reload. It's XP on it, but it's a 667 processor. So unless you're going to use it as a file server or something, you know, it really doesn't have the horsepower to do much anymore. Now, I've been thinking of taking one of the old computers here because I've got one underneath here that basically it runs well on XP. It'll do 7 only because I had to upgrade the audio and the graphics card and the NIC card and all of that to be able to do that. But I'm thinking I may take it, and if I get a spot set up, you know, get little Mo there going on it, where she can actually have a desktop to play on. Yeah, that's the problem with XP, to where when you load it now, if you're not loading Service Pack 3, you get no updates. So now on Windows 2000, you know, they went up through Service Pack 4 before they discontinued service. I actually have the files on Service Pack 4. So if I ever decide to load Windows 2000, I can always go ahead and load the Service Pack 4 and be back up. Which XP, they didn't allow you to actually download the files. That was all done through Windows Update. Now, I just went to 7 back at Christmas of last year. Up to that point, I was still XP. I have trouble wanting to fix something that works just fine. You know, so long as it was working good, why do I want to change it? And I have a problem with the whole computer industry because they are forcing you to keep buying new equipment, new stuff, forcing you to upgrade. You know, they really got you. It's kind of like with the iPhone. You know, as soon as you buy one, a couple months later, it's out of date, and they're going to force you to upgrade to a new one. So... Okay, well, for $50, you got a deal, Warren. You got a deal for $50. Now I'm thinking I may go get some dinner going. Yeah, no, blue screen of death is not good. That's when you have problems. Usually with the blue screen of death there, you've got something corrupt. You've got something wrong. All right. Yeah, we'll get off of here and go get dinner going. And I'll be over at Rosie's after dinner. So, thank you for coming by, everybody. Oh, and looky there. My thumbs up outnumber my thumbs down. Woohoo! Eat your heart out, Elvis. Oh. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Now, we'll see you later. Bye.